Thanks for downloading this episode of the Nerdball Podcast. We just got to get right to this episode. This episode was crazy from the beginning. It was such a good episode. I didn't know this person going into it, and it was wonderful. Good experience. Can't wait to have this person back on. Please like, review, share. How are you supposed to say it? I feel like there's a certain way you say that in an order. I always feel awkward when I say it wrong. Review, like, subscribe, share, review, like. I don't know. Do one of those things or all of them wherever you're listening to the podcast. If it's on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you're listening to it, reach out to nerdballpodcast@gmail.com. All the social medias, just search Nerdball Podcast. You'll find us there. But I don't want to keep you waiting. This episode was great. A lot of cuss words. So if you're around kids that you don't want to hear cuss words, maybe this isn't the episode. But it was good. If you're like me and don't really care if my kids hear cuss words as much, I mean, I guess we don't drop them all the time, but it's kind of fun to get my daughter mad at me when I say shit or something. So anyway, a lot of cuss words in this one, but such a good episode. Just energy oozing everywhere. It was great. So please again, please reach out if you have any guests that you want to be on here on that you would like to hear on the podcast. But yeah, boy, here's the episode. Buckle up.
What's up, fellas? My name is Mickey Sullivan, and this is the motherfucking Nerdball Podcast. I don't know. Can I say that? Probably not.
Yes, you can. That's good.
Oh, shit. All right.
This is the Nerdball Podcast with Lorenzo Melcher.
All right, thanks for coming on the podcast, man.
Thank you, dude. I've been waiting for this shit since Nam. I'm sorry. It's just once something builds up so long inside of me, I'm like, I'm here for this and I'm ready to go. We have so many talking points, dude. You know how you play that music at the end of every fucking episode?
Yeah.
You know how you play that music?
Yeah.
We are not getting to today. There will be where we're going. There is no music at the end.
Well, there has to be,
Okay.
and you keep freezing. So I don't know if it's me or you, but it ain't gonna happen.
Oh boy.
I'm hardwired in, so I don't know what's happening.
It's probably me. Should I move the computer something?
Yeah, we can try.
Then it's probably me.
Yeah, we can try. We can try somewhere else.
Hold on 1 second. I know what I'll do. Can we like pause it and then give me a couple minutes?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, pause it. Well, give me a couple minutes and I'll kick my kids out. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh boy, now you're getting a tour of the Sullivan household.
Oh my.
Sullivans, you gotta get out of here. Daddy's got a podcast to do. Go down in the basement.
It'd be sweet if you didn't even have kids. You're
Alexa,
just talking.
Stop playing that dog shit.
Oh my god.
Guys, if you need food, just eat those cold ramen noodles downstairs.
This is all staying in.
All right.
So you're not freezing, it appears now. Well, maybe. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll go. We'll see what happens.
All right. No, hold on. I get one last second. I forgot my talking point.
This is so chaotic. What's happening? We just started.
So you've never had a podcast like this shit before?
I guess not. Your view outside your back door looks nice. You have like a wooded lot, or is it just some trees back there?
No, I live in the city, and those are just plants. They came right out of the alleyway.
Okay. All right.
No, I'm joking. Yes. So, all right. First of all, should we start again, or are we gonna just
no? All that's staying in. We're good. So what I normally start with is I normally ask people, and just you're one of the few that I am interviewing that I don't have previous relationship with. It's very very seldom does that happen. So I'm very intrigued by this answer. I always ask people what they are nerding out about, something you're super into, a hobby, something that gets you away from like the daily grind, something you do by yourself, you do with your family. It's just some sort of hobby that gets you that you just really love doing.
So thank you for mentioning that. We have not met before. You are correct. And
Yeah.
so we have a lot of loose affiliations, which we're going to just zip right up. Okay. By the end of this interview, you and I are going to be best buddies. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
You're probably going to be a groomsman in my next wedding. I don't know for sure,
Right.
but I would say probably that's going to be the case.
Okay.
All right. Nerding out. I don't nerd out anymore on pretty much anything because I started this stupid drinkware company called the Chewzie. So we're
Okay.
going to get this shit out of the way real fast because
Sure.
I did a podcast last week and they didn't talk about it till the end of the fucking interview. And then I felt like I just couldn't let loose. So we're going to get this promotional shit out of the way and then we're just going to rip. We're just going to be ripping and tearing. All right. So it's called the Chewzie. It is dumb as fuck. I don't have one near me. I did in the other room with the unstable connection. It is a koozie, like a stainless steel Yeti koozie, except the bottom screws off and it holds a can of chewing tobacco. It is a dumb niche product. It did not exist. And because I am an ignorant person, I was like, I think that should exist. And I couldn't sleep for a while. Like for months, I thought about it, couldn't sleep. And I was like, well, let me just see what I can do if I can patent it or something, or somebody wants to buy it from me.
Mm-hmm.
So I patented it. I went to the company and I said, like the patent office is there and said, what do I do next? You know, I have this provisional patent. They said, well, give us $10,000 and we'll take it and we'll try to get a company to buy it at trade shows. And I was like, well, I don't have $10,000.
That's a lot of money.
Giving you $10,000, bro. They're like, yeah, you can make a quarter off every one sold, then it'll be perfect. I'm like, I'm not gonna make that money back up. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I told those people to fuck off. I went home. I read a quarter of a book. I went on the internet and Google searched how the fuck to make something work. And it is essentially like you have to bring it to life yourself.
Yeah.
So you have to create a business. You have to get it manufactured, create the website, get a little business plan. And I was like typing with my fingers like this, business plan 3 + 4. And I don't have a fucking clue what I'm doing, but we have these now. The website is up and running. We kind of model it after like I would say like a Yeti meets Barstool Sports. So we're going to have this line of drinkware where the bottom screws off. It can hold a can of chew. There's 10 million hardworking, blue-collar, red-blooded Americans that use chew. A lot of them aren't proud of it or whatever. I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of if you do. There's pouches and tobacco-less nicotine, like the smokeless nicotine. Tons of people use Zins and shit like that nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's like it grows 37% a year, the amount of people that use smokeless nicotine. So it's 10 million now, and a couple years from now, it's going to be 25 million. So we're just giving the first ever form of drinkware to people that have two vices. You know, it's not that big of a deal. The ones that drink and chew, we're just giving them a home and putting them together. And then we market it by making stupid videos that are really testing my relationship with my wife because she does not like any of it at all. But I think it's funny and it seems to be working and catching on. So that's what we're doing.
You know, you said testing the relationship of your wife. I'm sure she's well aware of who you are, just based on this 5-minute conversation that we've had so far. So I think you're okay. I think you'll be all right with that, with your relationship with your wife. So
this is true. I was always my favorite thing to be proud of was that I was class clown in grade school and voted class clown in high school at St. John's. And then it was, you know, some people are like, oh, I got a scholarship to college, or, you know, I'm really good at sports and I was just good at being a dumbass. So I just kind of rolled that into a career. And, you know, and it's not my actual career. I work for a fire department out here in Maryland. And that is what actually pays the bills and is fairly rewarding and is a really good job. And I love it. But the drinkware stuff is like this, what I would be technically nerding out about, because that's what it's consumed most of my time for the past 6 months, 8 months.
So do you have a website?
We do. It's thechewzie.com. So most of the stuff is I put on the socials to make people laugh and keep them entertained. For the ones that aren't going to buy the shit, I don't really care. But if they follow it on socials, and Instagram is the main one, then they'll love it, and it'll be like a brand that can grow, and they can talk about it and they can see it. And a lot of the people now starting off, obviously they know me, the people from my hometown of Toledo and the people out here, and so they all followed and stuff. But now we started in June. The website went live in June, and now it's starting to kind of catch fire, and people are contacting me about this and that. We had a company try to buy us out already, so it seems like it's going to progress, and which is good because, you know, like I said, I would end up getting divorced if it doesn't progress.
That's a lot of pressure on you. This thing better work, or my family's going to be dissolved.
Dude, not if Zoe's going to be in my next wedding. It's not a bed. It's perfect. I cannot wait.
I'm on your website right now. Hey, I'll make sure to put it in the show notes. People can check it out. Click on it. And you can I saw that you can get to all the social medias from that website too. So I won't tag that. They can just click on there. Why do you have a caveman as your logo, I guess?
I guess that's kind of like who I am, is a dumb type of caveman in a modern society. So when I was designing this stuff in the fall, I went on Fiverr, which is like, I'm sure you know, it's like a website where you can get logos and stuff, right? And usually it's pretty cheap and it's people from other countries doing the stuff. And I was like, all right, this is kind of my idea. I'm thinking like, a Neanderthalish or a caveman of sorts in a modern society, because that's who I am. I'm an ignorant kind of wild dude, but I like to drink and I'm proud of it. And I'm kind of crazy and everybody respects that. And he was like, okay. And he didn't speak English or whatever. He's just typing back and forth because he's 12 hours behind me or whatever.
Yeah.
And he sends me a picture of the first one. It was a caveman in a super short, like a skirt, right? Leaning up against the wall like this. And there was all just sorts of rainbow lights all through the buildings. Like he was in the red light district. And I was like, buddy, this is unfortunately the exact opposite of what I'm going for. I'm trying to appeal to the middle Americans that use chewing tobacco, not the red light district. But we figured it out. We found the logo, and that's what we went with.
Yeah, it's cool looking. I always like stories, especially like obviously you talk about the Chewzie. It's a beverage holder and it holds your chew. So I'm like, all right, well, how does a caveman work into this? So I like hearing that kind of stuff, especially working with somebody who doesn't know the English language very well.
Yeah, it was a little time consuming trying to figure that out, but all right. Well, now that we're past that, fuck that stuff. We're not even gonna worry about that. We got lots of things. Let's start in on so I'm from Toledo. I went to St. John's and I'm like the same age as you. So we probably know plenty of the same people. We obviously both know Jim and Tyler. I worked at Put-in-Bay with them in the summers in college. So I went to OU, but then I didn't want to ever come back home because Toledo sucked for me and my family was not great. And so I was like, well, I'm not going back home. And I decided to go to Put-in-Bay. My sister had worked at Put-in-Bay. Yeah. And that's where because they pay you to stay up there and they pay you to live. And it was just like a great summer job, right? And you're like living in a little paradise.
Yeah. So do you know our friend George too then? If you went to George Smith, he worked at Put-in-Bay.
Yes. Yeah, he was in my class. So dude, just had our 20... Go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was gonna say because he went to St. John's too for I think his freshman year. He went to St. John's.
Yes, I was gonna say like I remember him, but I don't think he obviously left. But we just had our 20-year reunion, so I got lots of stories from that. Did you guys end up doing something for yours or no?
Yeah, so ours we're doing something in September. We people organized it to go to the football game, Friday night football game at Perrysburg, and then there's a hotel here in the Levis Commons Mall, Perrysburg, that we're gonna have a place there to hang out and like a big ballroom or whatever. One of my brother-in-law, who was also in my grade, I'm married. He's married to my wife's sister. So he just happened to be in my grade also. So he's in a band. His name's Jake. He's going to play at our reunion too, and so it's gonna be pretty
Jake
cool.
in the Venom.
Yeah.
So I watched the documentary, loved it. So
did you? Oh, nice, man. Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this
What's
guy? My dad is Sully from The Village Idiot, the old man that sits outside with the beard. And
oh, really?
Yes, that would be my father, my lineage. I'm so proud of.
I don't know how to take that.
No, so
especially because you said you didn't want to come back to Toledo because your family sucked or whatever. I don't know the exact words, but
no, I mean my mom is awesome now, and my dad is. I talk with them every once in a while, so it's not bad. It just when I was like the third child, the last child, and they got divorced when I was like 8 or 9, and they both kind of went crazy at that time, and I was just kind of left in the cracks. And so I started like drinking at an early age and got into trouble and stuff. And I have a million stories that I cannot share on here, but there's plenty of people that will watch this and be like, oh, yeah, I had to bail him out of jail. Or I remember his ass getting carted away someplace. But so yes, that is my dad, and he's worked at the Village Idiot for probably 20 years or so now. He doesn't work there anymore, really, but he still lives across the street. And then during our high school reunion this past couple months ago, all the guys, we were at Brandywine, and all the guys were like, all right, let's go to a bar afterwards. Let's go to the Village Idiot. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go to the Village Idiot.
Of all the bars.
Yes. And so my buddy Parge had rented a Sprinter van for us. So we jammed like 25 people in this fucking Sprinter van, and we go to the Village Idiot. And then I get hammered, and my dad's not there, but like some of the people know me, some don't. He's not there. And I'm like, I'm going to go knock on his door. So like I go all hammered across the street, and I knock on his apartment door, and he like answers the door in his underwear. I'm like, what's up, bro? And he's just like, oh my God. He's like, call me tomorrow when you're sober and we'll have lunch. And I was like, okay. And so, yes, that was that. But so, yes, I go to the Village Idiot every single time I'm in town. I've never seen Jake play, but I've heard a lot about him, and the documentary was awesome. I loved it.
Well, yeah, I'll have to tell him that you loved it, because it was a cool thing, and for me to play a little small part in it, I thought was pretty cool. And he works hard, and that's his thing. Like he loves music, and he loves being a part of here in town, and and it was cool to see it, and it's cool to see people like yourself here that they liked it.
Yeah, you did an awesome job with it, man. It made me really proud. I was like, I don't get to see like documentaries from my hometown very often, so
yeah,
it was great to see.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for the next one? You don't have to worry about talking points because I have them all.
Wait. I do have another question.
Fine. What?
Wait, whose podcast is this? So I understand, and you don't have to tell them, but I am very intrigued because my brother, my mom was on this podcast, and it was a two-parter. She talked.
Listen to the whole thing. Loved it. Go ahead. Continue.
So all that stuff. My brother passed away from drug overdose. So like anything, like nothing's off the table. So whatever you want to talk about, like dive into it. If you don't want to talk about it, then we don't have to. So cool. I don't like telling people what they can and cannot talk about, because I want people to be themselves. I want people to feel like they can do, like cussing. People ask me about cussing. I go, you can cuss if you want. I don't care. If that's who you are, then that's who you are. I'm not going to like censor people just because.
Perfect. Yeah. I'm going to let it rip. Yes. And the episode with your mom and my mom are like kindred souls. My mom was a nurse for 35 years at like Toledo Hospital. And she's just the sweetest lady. And she reminded me so much of your mom. Yeah. I think we need to set them up on a mom date if we ever get a chance. But they seriously are like two peas in a pod, dude. It's hilarious to hear her talk like that. So, and then in terms of like more serious stuff, because I'm like a goofy dude, I don't get into serious stuff very often.
Hey, it's fine.
Yeah. On the Chewzie doc, like on the website, I did an episode. It's kind of like, it's almost like a Dirty Jobs type episode. It's called Everyday Badass, where like I interviewed two of the guys that I look up to the most in the fire department. And the reason I do it is because for the first 10 years of my career in the fire department, I was a paramedic. And when you're a paramedic, you see lots of awful, gut-wrenching things, and it's an extremely stressful job. And what I didn't realize is that for those 10 years, when I was in the back of the ambulance, it was usually the worst day of their life or close to it, And what I was doing, which I didn't realize I was doing, is I was interviewing these people to help make them feel more comfortable during the transport time to the hospital. So it'd be like, all right, they broke their arm, or they're having trouble breathing, or chest pain, or whatever. It's just me and them in the back. And it was good that I was able to talk to them. The best paramedics are the ones that can kind of open people up and talk to them. But I was asking them questions about their life and trying to get them to feel more relaxed en route to the hospital to make them feel better. Because if they had a good experience, then I would have a better experience, and then they would get there happier, healthier, and stuff like that. And so every day I was at work, I was subconsciously interviewing random ass people that were going through something very difficult. And so talking with people became a skill of mine, and I loved doing it, but I didn't always love doing it in the back of an ambulance on the worst day of somebody's life. So I wanted to turn it into something more. And I thought the base that I'm kind of shooting for is blue collar, red blooded Americans and everyday badasses that are just going above and beyond at their careers, for their families, for extracurriculars like coaching, things like that. So I took these two guys. They're two of the best guys I know. The one guy, he grew up in the hood in DC, and he was into a lot of stuff growing up that wasn't good. and he turned it all around. He became a reverend. He joined the fire department, and he's just one of the best guys that I know. And then the other guy I work with, he's on my shift, and he was a paramedic for 20 years, and he's got so many crazy stories. He's saved so many lives, and he's just an old country, humble, hard dick, and he's just like doesn't hold anything back. So I did an episode with them, and we talk about our careers and what makes them tick and things like that. And I hope to do more episodes like that. But surprisingly enough, you can't get a lot of people that are like, yeah, I want to fucking talk to myself. I got to figure out how you get these people to come on your show. Cause I've asked so many people like, oh man, you're a great person. You do all these extra things. Will you come on my show? And they're all like pretty humble. They're like, no, I don't really want to talk about myself, but thank you very much. So fuck off.
Well, normally, like I said at the beginning, it's a lot of people I know, and more times than not, the statement I'll get back is, hey, you want to come on a podcast? Well, why would anybody want to hear what I have to say, or why I'm not interesting? And I always tell people, I go, or they're like, I don't like talking about myself. And I always tell them, and you can use this too, I always tell them everybody likes to talk about themselves. They just don't know it.
Yeah.
and because it's true, once you get going, like when's the last time, besides you right now and the other podcast, when's the last time someone just sat down with you for an hour and asked you questions about your life or about you or your hobbies? Or that doesn't happen on a regular basis.
And it's not natural too, because when you get to be a good conversationalist, it's supposed to be back and forth, right? So you like, if I talk for more than a minute, I'm like, fuck, shut it down, ask them a question. You know what I mean? That's what I tell myself in my mind, just because you want to have a conversation, which means they talk, you talk, and back and forth. And then eventually it just starts free flowing. You know, that's how I think of it in my mind. But yeah, when you give me these open floodgates, like, oh, let's just ask Mickey about the drink. Let's ask him about, and I'm just gonna fucking spew it out because I just don't. I'm living a dream right now, and I get to talk with my boy who's gonna be in my next wedding, and so I'm not holding back today.
That's all right. That's the point of this. Like, I'm asking you, or in your case, you have talking points that you want to talk about. But that's the thing. Like, this forum for you is like, you shouldn't feel like, oh, I've talked too much, because this is where you can talk too much, because I'm the one who needs to relax and listen, and that's just the way it is. Well, but as far like
when I get you,
I'm getting, yeah. This is the worst.
I'm getting you on Everyday Badass when I come back in town, and I'm gonna ask you so many damn questions. Your head's gonna be spinning.
That's all right. That's that doesn't happen very often, so I'll be excited for it. Yeah.
All right. Next talking point. You ready?
Okay,
We're gonna hit that. We're gonna do a P-Burg list of people from P-Burg that we probably know in common. First of all, we're gonna hit this one right out of the park. My little cousin played football for Perrysburg. Jack Sullivan.
Yeah.
You know Jack?
Yeah, he was a wide receiver.
Okay.
I think he graduated last year.
Yep.
Right.
He's going to OU. He's going to follow in my footsteps, baby. He's going to be a drunk Neanderthal soon enough.
So can I tell you the thing I liked about Jack was, so I believe I was his position coach. Was I ever his position? I can't remember, because I changed. We got a new coach. I changed positions. I can't remember if that was sophomore year. I think that maybe that was sophomore year. But he has such good hands. Like, he catches everything. And I really like that about him. If you ask him, he just wasn't athletic as the other kids. But man, he was such a good, I liked talking to him. He was a good kid. He'd worked hard. He, like I said, he had hands for, like, he could catch everything all the time. He was just a good kid. I really liked it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I haven't talked to him much. He had his little high school, reunion. I think it was like a week after I was in town, so I wasn't able to make it. So I sent him some beer money, I think. But I know he's going to OU in the fall. My sister still lives down at OU. She's a high school English teacher down there, and she actually taught Joe Burrow, which I always like to name drop that, because I fucking love Joe Burrow, and I hope one day he's going to be on this podcast with you, and we're going to just sign him up, and then we're going to be living a dream, hanging out with Joey D with all the drip.
Do you think that's how you'll get your second wife? Who's like, hey, my sister taught Joe Burrow.
Dude, and the panties, they're just dropping all over. No. All right, next one. So one of my best buddies is from Perrysburg, technically, originally, Thomas Carr. Do you know Thomas Carr? Did you go to school with him?
So I moved to Perrysburg when I was a freshman. I've met Thomas Carr. I hung out with him a few times, but I didn't grow up there. I didn't know him, but I know who Thomas Carr is. Yes.
Yeah, so he's one of my good buddies. He's a Wildcat, not unlike myself, and disappeared. He's coaching down at the College of Charleston for their basketball team.
Oh,
And
nice.
he's doing awesome, and he's in the coaching realm as well. I just got to see him a couple weeks ago for the reunion, and we had a blast. And we got to. I wanted to make sure that I was at St. John's, so I think I told you guys this a little bit, but nobody wants to plan a high school reunion, right? And
Correct.
because I have not lived at home for 20 years, I still have dreams of like driving around South Toledo on the trail and then going down, South Detroit. And like, I'll just be driving around South Toledo in my dreams. It's fucking ridiculous. So I have all these deep seated memories that I need to unpack. And we're not going to probably get into them. This is going to be a 3-part podcast, like I said. So maybe that we'll get into them later on. But I was like, I would happily plan a high school reunion because we had asked around and I asked all the nerds and stuff that were supposed to do this shit and nobody raised their hand and everybody's like, no, I'm busy. I'm successful. I have kids. And I was like, well, I'm fucking ignorant and I love getting drunk and I would love to plan this party. And they were like, okay, go ahead. So I planned it. It was a blast. I was a little overzealous with it because I got a DJ with karaoke. And not one fucking soul was drunk enough at the time. We got kicked out of our high school at like 10 o'clock. I think it was supposed to end. And so by 10 o'clock, nobody's even hammered yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I had this DJ with the karaoke and I was like, fuck it. I got to do some karaoke. I paid for this shit. Let's let it rip. So I like to get drunk and sing Mr. Brightside. And so that's what I did. And it's on all of the socials. It's on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. The one has got like 40 or 50,000 views because I ripped my shirt off. So who wouldn't want to watch that shit? So it's a clip of me singing Mr. Brightside in the Commons at St. John's. And to get people to ooh and ah, I ripped my shirt off because I'm a sexy beast anyways. And not too many people have that caliber of creativity to go down that lane at their high school reunion. So I turned it into a little post and promoted the Chewzie out of it, which is
good. Well, yeah, as you should.
Selfish.
Yeah. No. So do you like karaoke? I'm assuming you do because you're the one who bought it, right? Or paid for it.
No, I mean, I don't do it. I just like being an idiot. And if it makes people laugh, the Killers are my favorite band and they're like good showmen. And I see them whenever they're in town in DC. But no, I did it one time. I think the first time was on a cruise ship. And then there was like 500 people there and they fucking loved it. I ripped my shirt off there too. And I was like, hey, I got to do this more often, baby. This feels good. My pulse is like jacked up. And I'm like, yeah. You get a little high from doing anything, just like public speaking or you know what I mean? When you're out and about.
Yeah.
Some friends that do stand-up comedy. And so they're like, yeah, you get a natural high from it. So it's stupid, but it's fun. And I can do it drunk and in my sleep because I know all the words and it's my favorite song. So that's what I did. We had fun at the reunion. It was a good time. We turned it into a couple-day event. And like I said, we were at Brandywine golfing and stuff. And I don't really fucking golf because it's a rich white guy sport, but I drove the cart around and got hammered. So we had a good time.
Yeah, I don't golf either. I have.
That's because you're not a rich white guy, Zoe.
I have in the past, and I'm terrible, but I know I'm terrible, so it doesn't frustrate me. I golf with some of my friends back in the day, and they get frustrated all the time with it. I'm like, all right, well, this sport's hard. Just know that you're not going to be really good at it.
It takes money, it takes time, it takes practice, and you have to wear tight, stupid pants and a fucking asshole shirt, which I don't agree with any of those things. So no, I'm not going to ever be good at golf. I do enjoy getting drunk and driving around the cart and being outside and away from my kids, but no, I'm not going to go to a driving range, spend fucking, $20 to hit some balls and then do it like every week for years and be like, yeah, this is what the fuck I do. No, I got kids. Yeah, we got a coach, bro. We got things to do with our actual family. So we're better off because of it.
Now, instead, I just do this dumb podcast in my basement. So
no, see, no, you're very good at this and you're getting all of us to talk and you're making the world a better place. It's your philanthropy.
Well, I do what I can. And I'm almost to 200 episodes, which is pretty exciting too.
That is insane. I'm coming back for 200. I'm coming back for 200 part 2. And maybe I'll take the glasses off that day. It'll be revealing to see these fucking bloodshot peepers here that are underneath this thing.
Bring your second wife and we'll be good.
Oh, man. Well, see, I got to find that one still. That's the problem. She's out there. She's out there someplace. But I want to ask you about coaching, man. So I know you coach for Perrysburg football varsity, right?
Correct.
And you coach your kids as well?
Yeah, I coached I coach baseball, softball. I've coached a lot of stuff. I've coached junior high track, high school track. I've basketball. Yeah.
How do you manage all that?
My wife is a wonderful person. Like that's really what it is, because during football season, it's very difficult to my daughter does but twirls baton 3 days a week. My son is now practicing tackle football. I have football practice to go to. So it's a lot of her managing the kids. And I tell her every year, like, hey, this coaching thing is a 1-year contract. And every year I talk to her, and she's never going to tell me not to, because she knows how much I love it. And the kids love it too. As they got older, they got involved. Before all the families can sit in the back of the end zone, and the kids just run around and play with other kids. And
Yeah.
but now my son, the past 3 years, has been water boy for the varsity team. And I told him he had to graduate to ball boy this year, because the older kids have to be the ball boy. They got to be more responsible.
Nice.
So he doesn't like it. He wants to go back to ball boy. We had our first scrimmage on yesterday, and on Saturday, and he asked after, can I go back to water boy? I said, nope, sorry, you got to stay up. It's more responsibility. You're older. We got younger kids that can do. Yeah,
got to
yeah,
keep climbing that ladder.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But yeah, I've coached everything, and I love it all. It's fun.
Dude, I can't even imagine what your little calendar looks like. Do you have like physical copies on the fridge, or do you have a whole hallway dedicated with fucking stamps and post-it notes, or what? How do you do it?
We do have we are very particular on the calendar we buy. It's a bigger calendar with bigger boxes, and then all the way to the left you can put names in for like, I think it's like mom, dad, Mateo, Lillian. So all the names go in there. So then when you go across, whatever's in that across, that's what that person's doing, or what they're for, or so different activities, games, practices. It's mostly the kids stuff that's on there, because I know everyone knows I practice Monday through Thursday, and then have a game Friday, and then practice Saturday morning. So, but it's well, we got to be well organized, and sometimes it's not. But like I said, my wife's a wonderful person, and she makes it work. So,
dude, I'm always so jealous of people that have their shit together, because you know what we do every morning? We wake up like this. Oh, all right, we got to get to school. Somebody fucking eat a Pop-Tart real fast. Get out the door, and then we just pack our shit. We're like, all right, you got practice after this. We'll pick you up. All right, somebody will pick you up, and we just fucking throw the shit together every day. And it would be nice if we had a board. I think we should probably get a board.
Yeah, it's nice to be a little bit organized, but my wife and I we're planners in general. And I know when I can interject and not, because if I have a day off during the week and it's during the school, I don't do anything. I do. I don't do anything with the kids in the morning, because my wife has it down. Like, here's when they eat, here's when they're out the door, here's when they do this stuff. So I asked I was like, hey, do you need me to help with anything? And she's like, nope, we're good. Like, because if I try to, like, oh, I fed them, well, you're not supposed to feed them. They're dressed. I'm like, all right. Just, well, you do it and let me know where I fit in. So.
Yeah, listen, you're just there to help her out, okay? You're there, you're her assistant coach, and you're gonna twirl her baton, okay?
Yeah.
That's all you gotta worry about. How does that work with your daughter, man? Does she just practice throwing shit at home, and you're just always catching it, dropping it, hitting people?
So she won't practice at home, and that's a little frustrating, but it doesn't bother me too much, because she does it 3 days a week already. Like, she practices 3 days a week. So, like, I want her to practice more at home, but she gets probably between the 3 practices, I think it's like 3 hours, maybe a little over 3 hours of practice a week at the gyms that she goes to. So, and plus she has to do other things. So she'll do softball in the fall and the spring, and so I don't get on her too much about it. But she's been doing it. She's gonna be 9. She's been doing it since she was like 3.5.
Oh my god!
So
she's gonna be a professional. Like,
it blows me away how good she is. Yeah.
And if she does not major in baton throwing, she can be one hell of a cop and just beat the shit out and go aggressive, full aggressive on the streets. Just a little twirl, and then some beats, and then some twirls again. She'll go viral in no time.
And cops only have one. Like, she can twirl 3, like throw 2 up in the air, hit them, grab another one, just multiple coming right at you. Not that I condone police violence. Oh no, Mickey froze. Mickey, where'd you go? Uh-oh.
Probably my internet, because it sucks. Oh, there you go. Right.
that was yeah, we're good. That was the first time that that happened since you
Yeah,
moved, since you
sorry.
kicked your kids out. So no,
The
you're
kids
good.
probably started playing fucking, Call of Duty or some shit in the basement with 9 players. All right, the next person for Perrysburg. Uh, I don't know tons of Perrysburg people, but Megan Cryan went to grade school with me. Do you know Megan Cryan?
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
I think we made out when we were like 19, so she's not gonna like me saying that. But hey, we were 19, bro. Whatever happens, it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. We're
Water
good.
under the bridge. Water under the bridge. Her
Yeah.
her husband's gonna beat the shit out of me.
As long as you were both 19, then you're good.
Yeah. I think that was the case. My boy Jared Parsegian, he has this company called Par Bikes on one of the main roads there down by the river in Perrysburg. Have you ever seen those bikes?
I have not. No.
They're
No.
like there's definitely, I want to say, 4 wheels. They're a 4-wheel bike, and you
Okay.
sit in it, and you can fit 2 or 4 people in it, and they're just cool as shit. They're like old timey. You can be hammered. It requires no stabilization at all, and you just ride around. They get kind of fast, and they get big and luxurious. And he owns this company, and they're fucking sweet. They're called Par Bikes, and they're based right out of Perrysburg. And I think he has one out in his front yard. And I mean, next time I'm going to go there, I'm going to try to steal it if it's still parked in his front yard, because I can't afford to pay for one. But
So does he rent them or you buy them?
I think you just buy them. But,
Okay.
you might be able to rent them. I don't know.
Par
All right,
bikes.
along the sports lines, this is a kind of a sportish issue. I don't know if you saw the other day on Facebook, or somebody, I think a couple days ago, posted this clip of this kid from St. John's. His name is Brian Dooley. He went to OLPH.
Yeah. Yeah.
That clip had me fucking tearing up. But because he went to my grade school and because he went to my high school, I slid right in that motherfucker's DMs, and I was like, dude, I'm so proud of you. That made me feel so good. That was awesome that you did that, And
Yeah.
and he texted me back or whatever, and I was like, hey man, I don't have anything to give you, but I'll send you a Chewzie. You want a Chewzie? And he was like, sure, I'll take one. And then I sent him the video of me at St. John's dancing naked, and he hasn't said anything since then. I'm pretty sure he's like, all right, this guy's a fucking creep. But once he gets the Chewzie, I sent a T-shirt in there too, so I'm sure he'll feel better about that. But That was an awesome story this week, and he gave up his scholarship for this other kid that was like selling plasma and couldn't afford to really go to college and had to pay his way. Which, hey, motherfucker, I had to sell my blood and shit in college too. Nobody's giving me any fucking scholarships. I had to go to West Virginia from OU, Parkersburg, West Virginia, drive 45 minutes, probably wasn't even worth the fucking gas money. And I would just sit there twice a week, because you had to go twice a week, because then you got more money the second time. I think you got $20 the first time, $30 the second time. And I was down there, and Parkersburg, West Virginia is no fucking joke. Those people don't even have teeth down there, bro. Now, listen, if they want to buy a Chewzie, they have plenty of teeth. So I don't want to make fun of them. But
are teeth necessary to buy a Chewzie?
They're not. You just fucking have to get right in the gums. All you need is some gums. We all have some gums. But that was awesome to see Brian Dooley this week do that. And shout him some making me feel real good about South Toledo.
Yeah. You mentioned you went to OLPH. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So I went to Our Lady of Lourdes.
Where?
Do you remember Our Lady of Lourdes? Because we would play OLPH in sports.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where was that at?
That was by Rogers High School on Hill Avenue. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So my buddies all make fun of me because I do not remember a lot about our hometown and people's names and stuff like that. When I was planning the reunion and shit, like, who the fuck is this guy? And I felt bad, but like, you just kind of go through the day to day. When you're a kid, you don't really, the awareness level is not there. So like, I went to high school with a couple hundred kids, and it's like, I didn't, you know them all. Technically, you knew their faces, but I didn't know everybody's names. And it's been 20 years since I've ever heard some of these people's names. But yes, there was some kids that intermingled between OLPH. Megan Crime was one of them. We had some other kids. I was going to write their names down, but I fucking forgot.
That's right.
My buddy, another kid we ran around with every once in a while, nerdout. I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Fuck. All right. It's
not
that small.
I don't know.
Figured we give it a shot. Hey, we connected my dad. That was a big one.
Yeah.
And my cousin. Dude, we're crushing the list. I'm pretty much done with the list here. I don't know. Now I'm a little nervous because the talking points have finished.
That's all right. Did you grow up in Perrysburg, or where'd you live at? You live in Toledo, South Toledo?
Yeah, I lived in South Toledo, off Glendale, over in the hood. Dude, I stopped there. Last time I was home, I always just stop by because I'm like, I got to put my peepers on it so I can feed these crazy dreams that I have. Mm-hmm. And the house is like purple or blue or something weird. And there was a guy out front, and it's on Watova. in South Toledo, which is like a dog shit street. It used to seem so big when I was like 5 years old and I lived there. And now it's just like this little rundown street. And these houses are probably 100 years old now. So they're not in best shape. But there's a guy out front and I was like, hey, man, how are you doing? He was like, oh, I'm good. I said, hey, I grew up in this house. You know, how is it? Do you still have the pool in the backyard? And he's like, yeah, you want to come see it? I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to go see it. And my kids were in the car. My dad was in the car with us. We were going to go to a Mud Hens game. And they were all just like, oh my God, this fucking guy. And so I embarrassed them like that on a daily basis for the most part. But I went in the backyard. The pool was still looking good. And everything else looked like shit. And I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. My dad built this addition back here. You know, he wasn't a very good carpenter. The guy was
so sorry.
The guy was like, I know. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but it seems like you're doing well. And you know, we went. Oh shit, I got a kid crying. And we went our separate ways. But it was awesome to like go into your old house that you grew up in. I don't know if your parents still live in the house that you grew up in, but
no, I drive by. I'll drive by my old house. I work for the Toledo Metro Parks, so if I got to go to like Swan Creek or Wildwood, it's kind of close to my old house. So I drive by it. It looks exactly the same, but I'm not gonna go. I don't want to go and knock on the door.
Do it next time. You'll feel good about it.
I don't know, man. I'm terrified.
They'll let you in.
They'll let you in.
And you're gonna have all these crazy dreams then for the next couple months.
We drive by. So my wife and I bought our first house. We live in Perrysburg now, but we bought our first house in South Toledo off Schneider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I lived off Schneider too. I lived in a lot of houses, okay?
Yeah.
I lived on Fullington off Schneider.
Fullington. Is that closer to South Detroit or the other side?
I think it's close. It's closer to the other side, but where the parks are, the soccer fields and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's closer to that. But then I also lived on Muirfield.
Yep.
Muirfield? Yeah.
I know Muirfield.
Ring a bell?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I bet we know some of the same kids off Muirfield. Now there was this kid that used to beat kids up. He was such a dick. So the Muirfield house, let me tell you this. I grew up in the smallest, didn't grow up, lived there for like a year or two. The smallest house on Muirfield. It literally was like a little baby's house. And I'm going to offend some people. Little people, I think that's what they like to be called. Can we say that?
The proper parlance, I believe, is LPs. Yes.
Good. You Google it before I make an ass of myself and correct me if I need to think else. Little people lived in this house. And I did not know that. My mom rented this house after the divorce. And just her and I were going to live in there. And I was like 10 years old or whatever. And she was like, all right, she was a nurse, so she worked 12-hour shifts. And so I was just old enough to stay by myself. And she's like, all right, you're going to be good to stay here. It was our first weekend in the house. I was like, yeah, that's not a problem. I can stay there. And so she was like, when you wake up, eat some breakfast and somebody will come pick you up. And I was like, all right, good deal. So I woke up and I hear this banging in the house. I'm like, fucking, this is like my first night in the house. I hear this banging and I wake up and I go to the kitchen on top of the basement stairs. And it is coming from the basement. Somebody is in the basement making noise. And I'm like 9-10 years old. I'm in my fucking underoos. I go to the top of the basement stairs and I'm like, hello? And the banging just stops. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna fucking die. And I go, hello? And I hear this, hello? And I'm like, oh God. Not 2 seconds later, a small person comes running up the stairs, full speed at me. Now, when you're 9 years old, not only is it scary to get chased up the stairs, everybody's afraid of getting chased up the stairs. When you're in the basement of any house and you turn the lights off, you fucking go up the stairs a little faster, correct?
Yeah.
Everybody does, because you don't know what's behind you in that dark. Well, imagine a small person running up after you. You're 9 years old in your underwear, all sorts of shit going through my head, okay? All sorts of shit. And I just fucking, and also, I don't know, this could just be me, but I feel like their feet, they're a little faster because they're closer. So the pitter patter was pretty fucking fast in my mind. That's how it played out.
Quick pitter patter.
And it was like they were going to get me right away. Super fast. And I fucking bolt to my bedroom. I slam the door and he's banging on the door like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm so sorry. Get out of my house. And I'm like, oh, get out of my house. And he's like, what'd you say? I said, get out of my house. Please don't murder me. I'm so fucking sorry. Don't do whatever you want. And he's like, oh my gosh, is your name Mickey? I said, yes. And he goes, oh, I'm the landlord here. I own this house. You must be I didn't know that you were here today. I'm so sorry. And I was like, well, you're gonna have to change my shorts, buddy, because it's bad down here. So that was my that's my Muirfield story. That's what I remember from Muirfield.
All the good, wholesome family memories.
Man, I offended so many people in that story.
That's
I'm gonna get fucking canceled.
I can't imagine what you were thinking about when you're 9.
It set me on the path I'm on today. Obviously, I'm fucked up. Real fucked up. All right, what street did you live on?
I can't remember. That was the house my wife and I first bought. I was trying to think as you were telling me that insane story. I was trying to think. It's closer to South Detroit. It's just a cul-de-sac. It's a dead end street. I can't think of what it's called now though. And
did you ever go to that bar? What's that bar on South? The pizza bar there.
Pizza bar.
Like on South Detroit at what is that? Heather Downs? Is it Heather Downs? Yeah, Heather Downs.
I don't know. I don't know. Pizza bar.
Terrible. The one bar. It had to be. It was like right by Frisch's. It used to be Frisch's Big Boy or some shit. Kind of by Burger King.
Oh, Capers.
Capers, yes. Yeah. So we used to go to Capers. I could walk to Capers from like my 4th house that I lived in off there.
Yeah, that was before we had kids. So my wife and I would go there. We went to Capers a few times.
Yes, I got punched at Capers so many times. I have so many great memories of that place. And Doc Watson's. I didn't get punched as many times. So I kind of grew up in Doc Watson's because before Sully, the Village Idiot guy, worked at Village Idiot, he was Sully of Doc Watson's. And so when I was a kid, he was a hippie in a sense, and he did not own a car, but we split time, and I lived with him by myself and my mom by myself. We would have to ride our bikes up to Doc Watson's and all around to basketball practice and shit, and I fucking hated it because the winters in Toledo they're not really conducive to riding bikes when you're fucking 9 years old and get chased by small people up the stairs. So I kind of resented him for that, like not having a car. And I was always like, no, I don't mind it. And I fucking definitely mind it. And now I wear scarves when it's cold out. And that is really, it's not really my demographic. And I'm not proud of wearing scarves because I think most men shouldn't. But I hate being fucking cold because it goes straight back to when I was a kid riding a bike up Heather Downs, South Detroit, and just getting to Doc Watson's. And all I ate was maraschino cherries and mozzarella sticks. And I played Drive or whatever that fucking race car game was, and that was my childhood. And like I said, that's why I ended up the way I
am. You look like if I didn't know you and you just stood somewhere, you look like you would put a scarf on though. So
see, that's not what I'm going for. That's why I grew this stash because
that plays into it. That plays into it.
Me. Oh, now the stash says scarf.
Yeah,
I'm getting rid of it today. It's gone.
I found my street. Colleen Court was my street.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where we had our first child, our first home together. And then we split when we're like, well, we're having more kids. We can't be in this tiny home anymore.
I hear you. Yeah, I love, dude. Do you not love South Toledo though? Does it?
I did. It did. It was a cool place. If you ask my mother-in-law, it felt like we were driving. My mother-in-law has been in Perrysburg her entire. Well, so they moved from Buffalo, but they never lived anywhere else but Perrysburg. And whenever we were looking for a house and we would cross the Maumee River, it's like we're in a different time zone. So.
I never thought of South Toledo ever as being like a bad neighborhood to grow up in. Like I never had any problems, and I'm sure there was. I just wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
And somebody was telling me some story like, "Oh, you grew up off Fullerton where that guy got murdered and put into a sewer." And I was like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, like 3 houses down from you, some dude got chopped up when you were little and put in a sewer." And I was like, "Oh, maybe I didn't. Maybe it wasn't the best of neighborhoods, but."
I don't know. They do call Swan. Well, not they. People that I work with
in the Metro Park field. What do they call Swan Creek?
They call Swan.
Tell me.
Stab
Come
Creek.
on, offend me. Just slap me in my face because I used to run cross country there. I love that place more than anything. Tell me what they call it.
Stab Creek.
Oh my god! You guys need to come out to DC and Baltimore. I'll show you some real stabby.
I know.
Out there. There's some real stabby ones.
So when was the last time you were here in Toledo for your reunion?
Yeah, I came back a couple weeks ago. For my sister lives in between. God, what is it? Amherst, Ohio. So it's kind of by Sandusky in a sense. And it's like really close to the lake. A beautiful town. And she lives up there, and we do like a family vacation every year. I have one sister who lives in Athens, the other one in Amherst, and then still some like sprinkled family in Toledo. So we did Put in Bay for a day. We go to Maumee Bay State Park for a couple days. It's beautiful there. And just do some Toledo stuff. We went to a Mud Hens game. Stupid shit that. But yeah, I come back like once a year. So when I come back and we do round 3 of this face to face, it's going to be eventful. And I'm going to make you drink a lot of beers out of the Chewzie and probably slap in a couple Zimbabwe's as well. I'm sorry, you're going to have to do it. And then we're just going to get all jacked up, and it's going to be it's going to be the 200th episode. Actually,
All right,
that's what it's going to be.
I'll tell you right now, I'll throw up immediately. So if that's what you want.
Perfect. That makes great clips. I can go viral with that. Just a little bit. What about like yeah, we'll find some mellow ones for you, some little tiny dimple dusts that you can just pop right in.
I put this was had 20s, early 20s. I put a pouch in one time and immediately just fucking threw up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually what happens the first time. But you just gotta ease you in, baby. Just come on.
No, I'm still waiting. My brother was addicted to drugs, my mom alcohol, my grandma gambling. So I'm waiting to see what I'm addicted to. So I try to stay away from that kind of stuff.
I think you're addicted to podcasts, though, and I think that's a good addiction. So you're doing good.
Here we go. I told my mom, I was like, I don't know if this is good or bad, but I'm waiting. I'm like hiding around every corner before that addiction just pops out at me.
No, you're doing fine. It would have already revealed itself by this point, all right?
Maybe.
How are my boys, Jimbo and Tyler, doing?
So they're good. Tyler, we do that Three Dads podcast together. So it's fun there. Yeah. Tyler's good. He has a new girlfriend, which is awesome because I've known Tyler since high school, and I always tell him and other people that he loves love, and it sucked when he got divorced, but I didn't like his wife anyway.
Oh shit! She's not listening.
A lot of us didn't. But Tyler was in love, and we were going to support Tyler, and we may or may not have told him prior. I mean, he probably knew why they were married because there are some things that were said through Facebook comments and that kind of stuff. Not like you're a bitch or you should get divorced, but like we weren't very nice to her sometimes.
She's gonna fucking take you to Swan Creek, bro.
No, she's fine. So anyway, this new girl his new girlfriend is pretty cool. She pops her head in, or we can hear her in the background when we talk about, or when we do the Three Dads podcast, because if she's there, she'll we'll ask her a question or whatever. So but yeah, it's cool. Jim's good. His not to bring this podcast to a screeching halt, but his mom is not doing too well. He talked about on Three Dads that she has leukemia, so he's going through that right now. But he's a good dude, man, and I'm glad that those guys are around. I tell him, regardless of what we talk about on a podcast, it's just nice to be able to talk to them once a week and just catch up and clown around, and just stay in touch, because you don't always, well, much like you don't always get to hang out with your friends all the time or your best friends, and sometimes you go months without talking to someone, and it's nice that we can set aside an hour a week for the most part to just chit chat.
Absolutely. When you have like those best friends that you're so close with that you could just talk to about anything, any point in time, that's kind of like a rare case, you know what I mean? So you keep those dudes around, and that's good that you get to chat with them once a week and stuff. And I'm sure that, hopefully, it sucks what Jimbo's going through with his mom and stuff like that. But I'm sure he needs talking to you as much as, you need talking to him. So
yeah.
I'll probably help him out and help him get through this stuff. And I'm sure the Three Dads will always be there, and whenever he comes back around,
Yep. Yeah, but it's like I said, it's cool to do that. I've planned vacations with our guy friends from high school too. So we're going on the second one. I call it a mancation. The second one is next June. So I think 15 people got invited and 8 are going. So it's pretty exciting. The last time we had 9 people go. So it's cool. And then just to hear, like, we'll post pictures on Facebook from the last one, and people are like, man, it's cool that you guys are still friends. Now we're out of school almost 20 years now. So it's cool to like still be friends with those guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where are you guys going to go?
So this year I should say next June, we're going to San Diego.
Ooh.
George, our friend George, lives out there, and we kind of got the hook up on a really sweet place. I'll text you the pictures so you're super jealous of it.
I will be.
But it's cool. We're going out there, like I said, next June, and just last time we went to Austin 2 years ago, we went to Austin and just swam and drank and had a good time. So
man, dude, yeah. I was away from my kids and family for one day this past week, and I think like I drank a lot, stayed up late, and smelled like cigarettes. And I did not smoke cigarettes, but you just smell like cigarettes from being out. And I was like, oh, that was plenty. One day I'm good for another couple months. And I don't even like my kids that much, but one day away from them is like, all right, I miss you. I'll come back and talk to you a little bit, I guess, and enjoy you. But well, dude, thank you so much for I don't know how long do we hit the
about an hour? Yeah, you hit it right here. That was you ended your podcast. Awesome. So
perfect. That's what I like to do. I like to go out on a high note. I got a meeting at Swan Creek that I got to get to with Tyler's girlfriend. We're going to plan out something and she's going to pay me accordingly. No, I'm so happy you had me on, dude. I had an absolute blast. And when the 200th comes around, I guess I will do it. It won't be a deal. I can probably pencil you in. I don't have the calendar up, but I'll get the calendar up and I won't miss it. I promise you.
The bad thing is I sometimes I don't know who I'm interviewing until the day before. So
I'll be on your porch like, hey, so me, remember?
Well, thanks, man. It was I guess it was great to meet you. This is cool, man, and you're full of energy, and I'm glad you were the second podcast I did today. The first one is a little earlier.
So dude, now I just feel like a tramp.
I have to do 2 in one day. What do you want me to do?
Your sloppy seconds. Come on.
Well, I'm hoping to do a third one tonight with the 3 different dads, but so at least you're in the middle.
Not even coming back. All right. Well, thank you very much for having me, buddy. And
yeah, man.
Guess what? Because the Chewzie has such a huge following, you're gonna have at least 2 to 3 more followers on your podcast at the end of the day. Awesome. If you play your cards right. So we're gonna be crushing this for the future.
That's all I need. Hey, if you can send me a Chewzie shirt, I'll send you a Nerdball shirt.
Let's do it. I'll make you one, I promise.
All right. Thank you.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Yep. Bye.
See ya.
Oh boy. Thanks to my guest, Mickey Sullivan, for coming on the podcast. That was a great episode. He's texting me right now, even after the episode. That was great. Like I said, a lot of energy. Cool to hear about his business, the Chewzie. I don't know about him trying to get me to drink and do dip. I don't know about all that. Like I said, I'm definitely 100% throwing up if that happens. But cool to know some of the same people. We lived in the same areas of town. It was cool to know all that. And again, for someone I never met until 2 seconds before the podcast started, it was fun. It was fun. I'll definitely have him back on, especially because he comes with talking points. So maybe I'll make it a requirement that if he comes back on, he has to have talking points. But that hour flew by. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments on YouTube or iTunes or wherever you can leave comments what you thought about the episode or any of the episodes. Share your favorite episodes. I'm always looking to see what people like about this podcast, or not even the whole episode. Just say, hey, I like when you do this, or I like when you do that. I haven't been doing those question segments just because it's more editing and football season is busy. So hopefully I'll get back to that. But yeah, like, review, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Search us on any social media. Just search the Nerdball Podcast. You see my face logo pop up. Thank you for doing everything. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking, reviewing, subscribing. All that helps the podcast. It's growing, and I like seeing it expand, seeing new people come on, seeing new people like it, listen to it. The downloads go up. So thanks. That's all I can say. Thank you, because this podcast wouldn't be anywhere without the people listening. Without you all listening, the people out there are what makes this podcast go. So I will quit repeating myself over and over and just say thanks to Real JP Multimedia, Cuttlefish Graphics, the Perrysburg Junior High STEM Lab, and Big Daddy Graphics for always helping out the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.